Gil Scott-Heron, of course, the great late Working for Peace there, and that's from the Gast CD compilation disc that I play so often, and he never lets me down. Well, Haiti held its first round presidential and parliamentary elections a couple of weeks ago, and as with everything political in Haiti, there's much more going on there than meets the media eye here. Azili Dantò is a New York City-based human rights attorney dedicated to, quote, correcting the media lies and colonial narratives about Haiti. She's a performance poet, founder of the Haitian Lawyers Leadership Network, runs the website listserv and eyewitness project Free Haiti Movement, and the online journal Haitian Perspectives. She's also the author of Vote on Woman, a performance poetry collection, and the Ken B. La books. Welcome back to the program, Azili.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, it's my great pleasure, of course, Azili. Now, we don't get much news from Haiti, especially in the English press way up here on the West Coast. Can you tell me what's the latest from the elections down there?
Well, there was a lot of massive fraud in the election, as expected, because the United States, of course, and the international community want to keep their ultra-right candidate in power. And so Michel Martelly is the current president, and it's been shown through books by OAS official and by the Clinton emails that he did not win the elections last time in 2010. But now he has a candidate. This is the first time in 4 years that we're having elections. He's running Haiti as a dictator. There's no parliament. He's running by decree. And he has a candidate named Jovenel Moïse, who no one knew anything about in May 2015. But today, that guy is the one that was announced as the winner of the presidential vote that was on October 25th, and so he's eligible. He didn't get over 51%, but he's eligible to go to the runoff with another guy, Jules Celestin. So, but there has been all day today lots of protests because the scam is that people from his political party basically stuffed the votes, and it was such a mess that the Electoral Council decided that they were just going to count the summaries of the votes, which was, of course, provided by the status quo government. And so 5 of the candidates are protesting and have large letters to the Electoral Council. And so that's the situation we have. But the OAS, racist OAS, indecent OAS, is saying that these were good elections, and they're looking forward to going to the runoffs, which are supposed to be in December 27, 2015.
Well, the OAS, the Organization of American States, who they're sort of a tool of the Americans and NATO and Canada for that matter, and they've supported the previous election as well, and even managed to run the election in large part. What about the turnout this time? I know this was an issue in the preliminaries for the Parliament, the previous parliamentary election a few months ago. The turnout was very poor. What was the turnout like this time around? Do you know?
Yes. Essentially, this was an election of monitors. There were, basically, it was an election of monitors. And I'll direct your audience, of course, to learn more. Please go to our website. So essentially, there were a lot of political parties, and they all had monitors. And most of the political parties are connected to the government. So there was 154 political parties. There were 54 candidates for president. There were something like 13,000 polling places. But it turns out that the CEP, the Council for the Provisional Council, gave away or gave monitoring credit to about nearly 1 million people. 916,000 people were given monitor credentials, and monitors can go inside the voting spaces and vote. Many have found that they have voted twice. So if you had 916,000 and they're saying only 1,500,000 people voted, so you have nearly 1 million were monitors for political parties. So this is the fraud that was going on. But essentially, there was no violence during the October 25th election. The violence occurred afterwards. Then that's when you have the people going in and voting and having these credentials from the government, and it's a total mess. So that's why you have all these people on the streets right now. They don't really have the numbers as to how many. I think we have 5.8 million registered voters, and they're saying that 1,500,000 voted.
And what about Famille Lavalas, the most popular party that has been excluded from elections in the past? This is from the former, the deposed president, John Bertrand Aristide. His candidate, or his hand-picked candidate, Dr. Marcy Narcissa, she has complained as well about this election and called it a fraud. What's her situation?
Yeah, well, in fact, this is the first time that Famille Lavalas has been allowed into the elections. But there is, and Maryse Narcisse is one of two of the 54 candidates. Now, she was kind of probably at the top four in terms of vote getting. But so she is one of the two. Excuse me, she is actually the only one of the top four that got votes that is contesting. And she has filed within 72 hours of them giving the results. You can file. So a lot of folks have signed papers and sent letters, but she was one of the four top that actually filed to have a recount and to have the fraud, to have her fraud complaints looked into. So that's the way it looks at the moment. But what folks have to understand is that in 2004, when President Aristide was taken out by the special forces and sent to Africa and so forth, there began a process of destruction of the Lavalas party. And in that process, you had splinter groups, and you had other folks that were Lavalas that spinned off and did their own things and tried to survive. And one of those is amongst the four top folks. He's not running under the Lavalas, but his name is Moïse Jean-Charles. He's a politician who's initially, of course, Famille Lavalas, but they all spinned off. And so that's what you have. You have four top candidates. The status quo candidate, his name is Jovenel Moïse. No one knew him in May 2005, and today he's running first, and it's all the work of a man and a group named Osta Sola. They run campaigns all throughout Central America and Latin America. They were John McCain's campaign. The Haitians are saying on the streets that this election was a election sola. He's been called, the king of the dirty campaigns. So that's really, so they manipulate everything. And that's how the situation looks on the ground.
So he's sort of like an international Karl Rove kind of figure, is that right?
Yeah, see, that's exactly what he is. And, we have just had to look them up and so forth like El Salvador, Mexico, Guatemala, he's been in more than 500 campaigns, and a lot of his presidents, people he's put in ultra right. He is a Spanish male, and then he's naturalized Mexican. So. The Mexicans are the ones that call him that. They felt that he stole their election. And then one of the presidents he put into power was Guatemala president, who ended up having his immunity in office revoked and being put in handcuffs right after. So we're hoping that's what's going to happen, and that's what the Haitian people want to happen to Michel Martelly.
Well, and does he get his money from is he back somehow through the OAS, or how is it that he has become such an influential player in the Americas?
Well, this is one of the things we are researching. We noticed from our research that he's had connections with the Clintons. As you know, the Clinton gurus in Haiti were responsible for Michel Martelly. So if they brought him in to sort of clean up Mateli's image. Mateli was a carnival singer. He's sexist. He just have a lot of gross things that he would say. But they cleaned up his image, put a suit on him, and made him president. And that was Antonio Solo. Antonio Solo has connections to the Clinton administration. He has connections to the Republicans. George Soros, the whole group who goes around globally stealing folks' resources, taking their coastal lands, ruling by decree, but covering it up with PR. The media, of course, as you know, except for folks like you, treasurers like you, are owned by the corporatocracy that these folks work for.
Well, and what happens with Mickey now, with sweet Mickey Martelli? He's brought in his own friend, as you mentioned at the top. Does he just disappear back to the cabaret scene?
Well, I think he thinks he's going to run from behind, like basically be the kingmaker of Jovenel Moïse, this guy. And Jovenel Moïse had, like I said, no political experience. He's just brought in by Mateli. So I suppose Mateli expects to rule through him because he is not allowed to have consecutive terms. He could run again in 5 years after this term.
Well, if you've just tuned in, you're listening to Guerrilla Radio. I'm speaking today with Azili Dantò, and Azili is a New York City-based human rights attorney. She says that her organization is dedicated to correcting the media lies and colonial narratives about Haiti. She's also a performance poet and founder of Haitian Lawyers Leadership Network and runs the website, listserv, and eyewitness project Free Haiti Movement and the online journal Haitian Perspectives. Well, Azili, I've got figures. I'm looking at Haiti Liberté's website, the English page of that. Again, it's very scant. It's difficult to get English language news on the goings-on in Haiti. But they're talking like about a 23 or 24% reported voter turnout. There's riots in the street in the aftermath of all this. What role is the United Nations, who are still occupying Haiti, what role are they playing in keeping the so-called order there now?
Yes, well, they have not kept order, as you know. The United Nations is a proxy for empire, and one of the awful things that they've done in this round is they have trained. Well, right now we have about 11,000 Haitian police, so-called police, but they're militarized forces that basically keep protesters from denouncing the occupation and they're taking of their lands. The UN has sort of stayed from behind. They created a new death squad. It's called BOID, B-O-I-D. It's a French acronym. But essentially, that militarized group is going around shooting Haitian protesters. Actually, both Michel Mateli and the Pierre-Louis Aupon, who's the president of the Electoral Council, have announced that folks cannot protest the results that they were given. And so because of that, this new unit, folks say that this unit of policemen has been folks that they recruited out of jail and other folks, and its purpose is basically to put fear in the people. And so they've been killing. If you go to my website, folks, you can see we have much more detailed views. We have videos of what this BOID militarized, UN-trained, Canada-trained force is doing to the people. They want the people to swallow this continuation of the status quo with this puppet person, Jovenel Moïse. And they're saying you don't have the right to protest the fact that they've stuffed the ballots, the fact that, political parties, Mateli political parties voted more, tons of times, and people are still protesting, though, but they're getting killed, and there's a wave right now. This is one of the reasons I've been out here doing this for a long time, that we had said elections under occupations are illegitimate. We didn't really, as lawyers, want to see and have to deal with the amount of people now that are in prison. It's going to take years for us to try to get them out. They're just throwing them in there, and then putting out like a big amount of money they have to pay that they can't. These poor people can't even find, just for being protesters and happening to be in the wrong place where Boyd is.
Well, and again, your website, Azili, it's Azili Dantò, and that's EZILIDANTO.com to get more. You know, Azili, Canadians aren't generally very aware of the influence this country has had on the political process in your native country. Can you mentioned it a second ago, can you give us a little illustration of where Canada's government has stepped in and what the effects of its involvement in the political process there have been?
Canada is very big on training Haitian police, and I just explained to you what some of those police are about. But back in 2004, one of the things we remember Canada most importantly for is that they were part of the complot. They were part of the plotters to take out the democratically elected government. And Canada has reaped some benefits with its mining companies or U.S. mining companies that are located in Canada. Newmont's mining, Eurasian, they want Haiti's gold, and so they've been rewarded with that. There's 52 nations in Haiti. Haiti is one of the countries with the least violence, one of the least violence rates in the Western Hemisphere. Actually, there's more violence in Jamaica. In Dominican Republic, there's 4 times more violence. There's more violence in Mexico and Colombia, but none of those places have UN troops. None of those places have Canada police. But everyone is riding this economic recession off our backs, Haitians' back. I think they make about almost $1 billion a year the UN troops are making, and they're divided amongst these countries. And we have not had any justice. We've had cholera that the UN troops have brought us. We have an epidemic of UN rape. So that's the situation. The Ottawa Initiative, which was the name of the plot to take down President Aristide, it said, and this was in Ottawa, 2003, before the election, before the coup d'état, those folks that were there, the various OAS folks and foreign ministers and embassy personnel that held this meeting to decide how they were going to take over Haiti. It was in Canada, and basically one of the things that I think Paradis, one of your journalists who broke the story, said was that they were afraid that Haiti was going to have a large population explosion, and they said that was a bomb waiting to happen, so they had to take it over. But essentially, we know really the reason why Canada, the United States, and everyone is in Haiti right now, first of all, we're easy prey. Racism makes that. Second of all, we have a coastline of oil, and we have gold. Haiti is, as you know, we've talked about this before when you gave us the interview with really one of the very first people that we were able to talk to about Haiti's resources is you, Chris. It's the fact that we have so much resources that they want, and the fact we have a strategic position between Cuba and Venezuela, and that passage, that windward passage there.
Yeah, well, and since that discussion, of course, things have changed, especially regarding Venezuela with the death of Hugo Chavez. Azili, we don't have much time left, but I mean, before we go, the terrible earthquake that we saw is fading in the mirror of memory here, but the situation in Haiti hasn't recovered. What's life like in Haiti right now in the wake in respect to the damage that the earthquake caused?
Well, it's essentially $10 billion was raised. It was called the Bill and Hillary Clinton Fund, and they did what they wanted with it, basically. Essentially, nothing is left in Haiti there in terms of that money because most of it stayed in the name of in the hands of the donors and the employment they gave to their own nationals, not Haitians. So the rubble is gone, but we are left with a dictatorship because they used the earthquake and the trauma of it to bring us Michel Martelly and push him in. He has brought us a lot of decrees where he's taken our islands, and they're basically taking people off of the island so that they can do tourism. And I guess the most important, they say, flagship reform of the Clintons in Haiti is a sweatshop called Caracol, and it's in the north in Haiti. They were supposed to give, I guess, 20,000 jobs. I think the last time I looked, it was like 6,000 to 8,000 jobs. It's like 4 years later. But mostly they're using that as a way to get into the resources of the north and to take our deep water ports up there in the north. So it wasn't where the earthquake was. There's lots of scandals. The Red Cross, for instance, raised $500 million, and Red Cross only built like 6 permanent housing. So that sort of legacy is what we're left with.
Well, it's not encouraging. I do hope, though, Azili, that things will turn around. Again, go to Azili's site, ezilidantò.com, to find out more information. It's so hard to get English language information about the island. Thanks a lot for coming on again today, Azili.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Bye-bye now. And I want to thank David Swanson and Janine Bancroft and all the good folks that make things happen here.
Côté bagaille, ils ont